Five pros of living in Wichita in 2025 is what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share. All those fun things really help grow the channel, support the local community, small business, and all the things that go on around that. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it because a lot of this is just my personal sharing of living here for 36 years and the personal insights I have from being a West Sider to start, and I live East Side now. But the first one is that there are plenty of fun events to do here. Now, they're not always in your face, and they're not huge on a regular basis. But when we have them, we have them. And Wichita, I'd say, is very much an event city, meaning that we have different festivals, um, parties, things that go on like Riverfest, or we have Somewhere Fest, which used to be Elsewhere Fest, or like St. Patrick's Day Parade. We have one of the largest street parties in the state here in Wichita, called St. Patty's Day Parade down in Delano. And so usually it's a parade that goes all the way from on Douglas in the Delano district all the way down to the College Hill district. If you look at a map of Wichita, and I used to think there's nothing to do here, like a lot of people that lived here. And I had this attitude of like, oh, Wichita sucks, there's nothing to do here. But I would say that's not really the case anymore. It did used to be that way where it was lacking for entertainment, sports, events, things to do. And I think part of that was because it's somewhat true, but then also because we just didn't know about it like we know now. The marketing and information distribution systems just weren't out there like there are now with Wichita Life. ICT is another good local independent journalism blog to follow as far as just what's going on in Wichita. Same thing with wichitamom.com has a lot of great resources. Also Wichita by EV. If you look at all these resources, you'll start to see just how many events and things there are to do in Wichita that really gives you plenty of things to do here depending on what you're into. I think that's just a really common misnomer and myth that needs to be busted, that there's nothing to do here in Wichita, because there's plenty of fun events to do. You just have to look for them. You have to plan for them. It's not going to be like a regular basis where you can just go out to like Kansas City's Power and Light District or something of that regard. But there is plenty of fun events and things to do here. The second one I would say that is a pro of living in Wichita is that we do have a lot of stability here. We have a lot of peace, and then sometimes that can be boring, but it is stable. The people, the housing, the jobs, the pace of life. If you're looking for more of that salt of the earth, run of the mill, just everyday, casual, easygoing lifestyle, this is a really great place for that. Whether you're younger and just starting out and you kind of need some of that space and stability to get your career going, get your family going, or you're a little bit older and you're looking to retire and just enjoy the good years and the good life, Wichita is known for its stability of not a lot really changing too fast, too soon. And so while the rest of the world and everything else speeds up into oblivion and all this other craziness, Wichita's kind of lagging behind, checking it out, seeing what's good to adopt, what's good not to adopt. And it's a place where you can kind of count on a lot of things being the way you've always come to know them to be, and not being super quick to adopt everything brand new just because it's new on it all. So the stability that is reassuring is peaceful, depending on where you've moved to or where you're from, what it's like, but it can be boring. And I know this is a pros video, but you have to take in that counterpoint that goes with it too. Number three is we're still a little big town. And what I mean by that is that our major metropolitan population size is 600,000, which is a good amount of people, but we still have a lot of a small town feel, for better or for worse. Is that a lot of people know each other. There's a lot of people that are tied into each other's lives. We're very much connected in our different communities and cultures, whether that be from church, work, school, whatever hobbies you're into. It definitely has that little big town vibe where it's just big enough to have a lot of the big city amenities and features that you want, like stores, development, things to do like that. But it does have a small town feel where it's not just so impersonal and crazy and hectic and super crowded like you see in a lot of other bigger cities. So it's just the right size of city, in my personal opinion, that you are a bigger city, but you still have kind of a small town feel. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with all that. Number four, I'd say, is that there's a little bit of something for everyone. meaning there's a diverse amount of communities and cultures that you can tie into. You do have to just kind of look for them, and it depends on who you are, what you like to do, that kind of thing. But what I've found from exploring a lot of these communities and cultures is they're, for the most part, as long as you approach them with respect and care and consideration, they're very welcoming. They're very open to show you how they work, how they operate, what they believe, what they do, how this goes on. And I think you can really be culturally enriched here in Wichita if you kind of get outside your bubble or get outside your neighborhood or the common places that you go to. There's a lot more to this city and this town than if you just stay on the west side or the east side, because that's a whole thing. There's a whole nother video on west versus east Wichita, but there is a lot of community culture in Wichita. Depends on what you're into, what you do. If you're looking for that sense of belonging and feeling like these are my people and I know these people and I want to be a part of their group, and it's not all just family, even though family's a big deal around here. There's definitely plenty of communities to tie into that are very friendly, plenty of cultures to tie into that are very friendly. And I think that kind of goes into that point I just made about being kind of a small town attitude, is that people are welcoming, inviting, as long as you approach it with care, respect, consideration. They're happy to show you around what they do, how they do it, that kind of thing. And number 5, this is probably my favorite and probably the most important thing about the pro of living in Wichita that I don't think a lot of us that live here fully appreciate and understand, or others that are coming to move here realize is just how time rich we are. It's easy to get places, and honestly, people complain about boredom because they have so much time here. Like, it's one thing that you usually don't put 2 and 2 together, that it's like you're bored because you have so much free time. Like, you think there's nothing to do here because you have an abundance of time to do a lot of things, as opposed to having to drive 2-3 hours to go do everything, or be stuck in traffic forever trying to get to places. Being time rich is definitely a asset, a value that you have to take into account for living in Wichita that you have here, much more than I would say in a lot of other cities. And when I say time rich, also, since it's not super densely populated and there's not all this combustion or congestion of everything, you don't have to wait as long for things. So whether that's in line or getting a table or a spot, going to the airport, like you could go to the airport an hour before your flight and usually get through security, get on pretty well. Like, that's a big pro of living in Wichita, is the time richness that you have. But anyway, that's my 5 pros of living in Wichita for 2025. Got to sneeze in there also. That's part of the cons video for the allergies that are here. So look for that one next. But that's my video. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share all those fun things. And if I can help you out in any way with getting to know Wichita and real estate, man, shoot me a message and we'll go from there. See ya. Wow.